Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Things That Move Me YouTube channel. I wanted to talk to you guys about some entry-level pens that are pretty fun and obviously a good variety here. A lot of people get into fountain pens and get a little scared of how much to spend, what's good, what's considered bad, what's reliable, what's like a good starter pen to use. I already talked about the Pilot Metropolitan and Lamy Safari, which are great pens, of course, but there's other people that aren't ready for a $25, $30 pen, and they're like, what else is out there? So I've looked online and I've found a bunch of different ones that are pretty good. These are just a small example, and every single one of these pens costs under, I'd go as far as saying $7. So I mean, you can see that there's a wide range, and I've separated them here. So these three on the left are Jinhaos. These are really nice pens. They have a really good assortment of pens and styles and different looks to really meet everybody's needs. I like them because they come in so many different designs, and even though they don't cost a lot of money, they have a nice weight to them. They're built well, and there's a lot of variety there. So this one I kind of liked because of this wooden type finish. Now I don't think that's actually wood, but that's fine. It's not a problem. So I'm going to take the top off here, and you probably can't see that very well, but it does have like a little bit of a design there. This isn't inked, by the way. So you'll see it has a nice thing going on there. This is a fine tip. I ordered this one online, and at the time I didn't realize how small the nibs were. So these write pretty fine. If this says fine, what does it say on the side here? I'm just trying to look at it here. Jinhao. And then you can kind of see the top is kind of like that shininess, and the bottom's kind of shiny too. But it has a really nice finish. Let's see if you can see that. Kind of like a wooden finish. And then it says Jinhao right there in the middle, which is pretty cool. And it's got a good weight to it too. Getting back to the nibs on the Jinhaos, they do run a lot thinner and narrower than American and or European nibs. So that's just something for you to note. So if you do write small, then definitely get these ones on a smaller type. Let me see if I can get this one off. Hold on one second. Let me take off here. Actually, I think this one is inked. So let me not do that, because I think the ink might come off. I mean, not the ink, sorry. It might get some ink out there. So this is a really big one. This is the 159. This is the 8812, just so you know that. This is a variation of the 450. This one came a little bit dented. You can see it there, which I'm not happy about that, but this is like a $2.50 pen. So this one has a nib that has kind of like that gold kind of color to it. It does say 18 karat, but from what I hear, there is another model that is actually 18 karat, and they make nibs, like mass quantity of nibs. Some of them are gold, the higher end ones, and some of them are not. And this just happens to be one that was coated that way, but it's not actually gold. It's just part of the design. But you can see that it's really nice. Has this nice little part here. It is a little concave. I know you can't really see it in the video there. You can see it has a little bit of an indentation. So when you're writing with it, your fingers do kind of fall in the right spot, which is nice. This is one that I would definitely use with the cap on. This one is very big. You probably don't need to use the cap on that one, unless you prefer that kind of weight distribution. So this is this. And this one, I'm going to try again, but I might not be able to take it off because this one is really tight up. I'm going to have to do a separate video on this one because this is a nice, unique pen. And it does come in this color, like a bright yellow. I forget the last color. I don't think it was blue. But alright, let's go here. And this is another one that's pretty nice. It's a demonstrator, which means that it's see-through, so you can see you know, the ink in there, how much you have left. This one has an ink cartridge in it, but it's not actually being used. It's just kind of sitting in there for whenever I'm ready. And this is the Platinum Preppy. This is another pen that's in the $3 to $4 range. The nibs on these are actually quite nice, even though they're very simple, and they are pretty, let me just see if I can, I don't have the ink in that one, but if you can see it there, nothing super fancy, you know, it just has a little P there. I believe it's a 0.3, I'm not quite sure what that is, but I guess this is probably a fine. Nothing super special, but these guys are real nice beginner pens because you ink them up and you write with them and they just write, and that's pretty much all you want, you know. Even if it's an inexpensive pen like that, you want something that's going to write quickly and easily. This is another series, and this one you can find at a lot of arts and craft type stores and things like that, the Pilot Varsity. I really like this one. It comes in a variety of different colors. You can also buy them as a set. Usually I think there's like 6 different colors. This is another one that has this one does have ink in it, but this is another one that has a very simple looking nib. You know, nothing really fancy going on there whatsoever. But it's very lightweight. This is considered a disposable pen because it has the ink already in there. Now, there is a way to, you know, kind of pull it apart and put ink in there if you want. So it gives you that option. Then moving on over here, this is another one that I thought was really cool. It's the Petit, the Pilot Petit, and this is the Petit one. So this one's about $2 to $3. There's another one that if you like small pens, with a nice little clip there, it's also a demonstrator. It's very small. You can get a whole set of these for not much more than $10, which is really nice. I just wanted to try this one out just to see what it was like with the red, and it's nice. And this does have ink in it, but I'll show you the nib part of it, and you'll see that it's very similar to the other one. When you stick with the same company, as long as they're not the really high-end ones, a lot of times they do have specific lineups that will have swappable nibs, which is pretty nice. I know this one can swap with some of the other Pilots. That's kind of cool. So it's kind of funny because it wasn't until I actually took all my pens out and put them in and organized them that I realized how many Pilot pens I have and how much I really like what Pilot does. This is another pen here. This one I just picked up just because it's a little bit different. It's the Pilot Lumix, and the cool thing about this pen is that it doesn't have, actually, it's a few things that are cool, but this is the cap here. Let me see if I can get it off, because this one is a twist cap, so this was a little tricky to house because it doesn't have the little clip. It's a little twist cap, and that's it. This one, once again, has a relatively simple nib. Let me see if I can show you if this will focus. If you see the tip of it, it's actually pretty flat. This is called an italic nib, and let's see if this will focus some more. So it's very flat, which means that if you write left to right, it's very thin, and then when you write top to bottom, it's a little bit of a thicker line. Now this isn't very exaggerated. This is probably, I think this is a medium tip, so the lines aren't going to be super exaggerated, but it's a good introduction to that type of nib and that type of pen. And this one is in the, let's say, like the $5 to $6 range, and I mean nothing super fancy about it, but you know, if you want to dabble in a little bit of a, it's not a flex pen, so I don't want to use that term, but if you want to dabble in a pen that writes like italic or writes in a different style than just kind of a regular nib, this is a great entry level. and you can find them online on Amazon and other places. And you can, you know, the bigger the the bigger the nib itself, the more obvious the writing style shows itself. So I just wanted to show you guys, like, I would say all of these are great. The one thing to note about the Jinhaos is that their tips, like I said, are very narrow. So they will write much thinner lines. Actually, all three of these, and this is something to note, and I'm not going to open one up right now just because I have the camera in one hand. I don't have enough hands to open it up, but all three of these come with converters inside, which is really, really great. So once you kind of get into pens, the next step is getting into the inks and trying different varieties. All three of these have converters built inside, which means that you can put pretty much any ink or any fountain pen ink into them and use them, which is awesome. I mean, most of these other guys, or the higher end version of these guys, would require you to get some sort of converter in addition to getting the pen. Converters generally cost anywhere from $5 to $30 depending on the type of pen that you're using, and it basically allows you to put ink from a little ink well, or a little ink jar or something like that into your pen, and basically lets you use whatever color ink you want, which I think is fantastic. So having that these are under $6 a piece and they come with the converters, this means that they're such a great value. Right now I'm using them to try out different inks, because sometimes you get a new ink and maybe you end up liking it, or maybe it just doesn't write the way that you would like. These are great pens to get as kind of testers and samplers for different inks. So not only do they have many nice styles, from large, small, thin, heavy, these are just great knock around pens, just like I'm knocking them around right now. And you can try out different inks there. This one uses this one uses a cartridge. This one has it built in, but there is a way to refill it if you want. This one, let me see real quick. This one does not use a cartridge because it's fully sealed. Obviously you can open it, but because it's fully sealed, this is considered an eyedrop pen, which means that you actually fill up the tube on the bottom here with ink, and then you go like that. So that's a nice design, because this will allow you to use pretty much whatever ink you want. You will have to kind of take it apart a little bit to do that, but it's pretty easy. And this one has an ink cartridge as well. So ink cartridges are very safe and very easy to use when you're starting out, when you're a newbie. Pretty much everybody uses ink cartridges on the lower ends. Pilot does, Lamy does, Cross does, Schaefer. I mean, there's a ton of them. When you're on the lower end of the scale, the majority of them will use cartridges, which is fine. You can find cartridges, like a pack of 5 cartridges. Usually doesn't go more than like $6, depending on what you're looking at. And if you don't write a ton, 5-6 cartridges will last you a long time. But you'll start getting bored with the blue or black inks, and that's when something like this might be your next step. Either get something like this that has a converter built in. You're not paying a lot of money for the pen, but you're basically paying for the freedom to write with any kind of ink that you'd like. Or you can go to the next level of these pens, like $20 to $40, somewhere around there, and get a converter for it, something that you really, really like to write with all the time. I like these because I don't have to worry about them so much. I can kick them around, put different inks in them, and do whatever, and I'm not too worried. These are not really my everyday pens, but these are the pens that I keep at home, like next to my tables and different things. So if I have something to write, I'll just quickly grab one of these that has the correct color that I want and just write with it. And it's pretty simple, and I don't have to worry about them or anything like that. These guys, and these guys write consistently. You pick them up anytime, you just start writing with them. So I love that. They're very simple, well made, and the price cannot be beat. So definitely go on Amazon. You'll see a ton of Jinhaos on there for very inexpensive. They do ship from Asia, so they do take a while to get, but that's fine. Order 2 or 3 and then whatever. you know, under 10 bucks, you can easily get 3 of them. So these are the Jinhaos over here. The Platinum Preppy, which is a really great starter fountain pen, works as a great gift if you're trying to get somebody into the pens, or just trying to get somebody to try one, or if somebody shows any interest or curious about it. For that price point, you can easily buy a pack, or of any of these actually. You can buy a pack and like maybe gift 1 or 2 of them. These guys you can get at a lot of those what do you call it, like drawing, painting, arts and crafty type stores for really cheap. These guys you can buy a set, and these guys, if you want to try writing a little bit different and work on your handwriting, is a great one as well. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick highlight and overview of all these pens right here that are all well under $10, and a really great entry into fountain pens. Can't go wrong with pretty much any of them. Definitely you want to know what you're looking for. These guys are going to be pretty heavy because they're mainly metal. These guys are going to be very lightweight. The nibs on these guys can sometimes be pretty hard and scratchy, which is not a really good trait, but it is a good trade-off for the price, and it lets you play around with a bunch of different inks and just kind of mess around and not really be worried about them. So I like these because they have a nice, you know, elegant design, but they're cheap. And I like these guys because they're inexpensive and they're plasticky, but they seem fun. These seem like artists' pens versus these ones seem like pens that you'd want to write with at work type thing. So there's a little bit for everybody, and with that price, like buy 2, buy 3. If you don't like one or whatever, you know, it's not too much of a bother. So these are all pens under $10. Thanks for watching, and I will be posting some updated videos shortly. Thanks.